Darko is ridiculous.
What the fuck are you gonna do?
Oh, go and listen to Darko. You have to. Welcome back. This should be an interesting one. This is the first band that I've spoken about that doesn't have a Wikipedia page, which is quite surprising, actually. The band is Darko. And a brief overview, the band was formed in 2020 by Tom Barber of Chelsea Grin. And Josh Baby J Miller of Spite. And Ex Emure. So, if you know anything about any of those bands, you'll probably guess that this is going to be pretty heavy music. And you would be right about that. Now, before I dive deep into it, let me just rewind time a little bit and give you some context for where I'm coming from with this band. So, if you've been watching my previous videos, you'll know the old story of, you know, Korn and Slipknot getting me into metal. So I'm like, Korn, cool. Slipknot, cool. And then after doing a little bit more exploration of niche, weird, heavy, primarily metal, I discovered some other bands that were like stepping stones of stepping stones to peak heaviness, let's say, or like the holy grail of heavy music, right? There's a few. There was The Locust. There was the Berserker. Then I think a little bit later there was Willhaven. And then came Meshuggah. And each time I discovered each one of these bands, I was like, okay, that's it. I don't need to look any further for more heavy music because I found it. Nothing can possibly get any heavier than this, right? All pretty heavy bands in their own different ways. But I think really it was Meshuggah that was the one where I'm like, music can't possibly get any more metal than this. And I think to a certain extent I was right about that. But that was a long time ago. This would have been in the early to mid 2000s. And then for the next 10 years or so, because of reasons, I started listening to more electronic music of all weird and wonderful types, primarily drum and bass, jungle, dubstep, breakbeat, that kind of stuff. My pursuit of the heaviest music ever was kind of abandoned. I wasn't looking for that anymore. I was just looking for more and more weird and wonderful electronic music. Again, drum and bass primarily. Fast forward several years to 2022 or something, then through no fault of my own, I discover Darko.
What the fuck are you gonna do?
Holy crap. It's like all of those bands, those previous bands I just mentioned, were all blended together to create literally the heaviest music I could even conceive of. Like, I can't imagine music being heavier than this. I mean, who's to say? Maybe in another 20 years, Darko will be in the position that, you know, Willhaven or the Berserker was 20 years ago for me. I'd be interested to see that, honestly. But yeah, Darko is ridiculous. Considering it's only 2 guys as well, and they don't tour because it's all, you know, this kind of music is impossible to perform live because there's a lot of production that goes into this music, a hell of a lot. It's not just record a guitar take and that's it. No, there's a lot that goes into this. I haven't really dived into how they produce their music or anything. I can just tell just by listening to it that they must be absolute nerds in the studio, and there's a lot of it's very digital. This kind of music would not have been possible 20 years ago at all. The techniques that are used, I mean, the guitars, the guitar's like a 10-string guitar or something absurd. The drumming is, I mean, the drumming is the drumming. And the drumming and the guitar are both performed by the same dude. Crazy impressive. And as far as I'm aware, there is no bass guitar in this because the bottom end of the whatever 10-string guitar is so thick and meaty that there's not only is there no need for a bass guitar in it, there's no room in the soundscape of this music because of the thickness of the guitar. That it's just there's no need for a bass player, so 2 people is more than enough. Not only that, but there's crazy synth work in this as well, which is, to my mind and to my taste, I have mentioned before in previous videos that deathcore, I do like it, I don't dislike it, it just sounds very samey to me, for the most part. There's a few songs by certain artists that sort of stand out a little bit, but for the most part, it's all not. It all just blends together. I get song blur. Like I can't tell one song or one artist or one album from the next, you know. But with Darko, I think with their first EP, they hadn't quite discovered how weird they wanted to get with this music. But immediately after that, crazy, absolutely insane music. Unbelievable music. And this is coming from someone who's spent many years looking for the most ridiculous, heavy, just absurd, twisted music that is really pushing the boundaries of what music potentially can even be. And I'm amazed by this. Part of the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I did a video about Wargasm. Surprisingly, that video actually did quite well. I don't know why. There was someone in the comments that said, "Thank you for sharing this. I'm hooked." I'm like, yes, good. That's exactly what I was intending. I'm trying to get this band more attention, and like I said, for whatever reason, that video popped off, even though it's a band that no one's really heard of. By the way, if you haven't heard Wargasm, go check them out. And I feel kind of the same way with Darko. I feel like in certain circles, this band is popping off in like deathcore circles of music fans. They're probably well known, but I think in the grand scheme of things, not at all. And they should be. I wish that I had discovered them before I discovered them, because it's just the most ridiculous music. It's so heavy that it makes me laugh. I'll be in the gym or whatever. By the way, possibly my favorite gym band of all time. And I'll be in the gym, and it's actually quite dangerous, because if I'm doing something that requires a lot of upper body strength, and I've got a heavy weight above my head, and this music is so heavy that it makes me literally laugh out loud, I'm going to drop that thing on my head. So it kind of adds an extra layer of thrill to what I'm doing in the gym. Yeah, so they have 2 studio albums, being Darko and Oni, and 2 EPs, being Death Mask Part 1 and Death Mask Part 2, all released between 2020 and 2022, according to everybodywiki.com. Their latest album... No, they do have another album. Starfire. Starfire is one of the most interesting, bizarre, heavy, brutal, eclectic, atmospheric, diverse, weird and wonderful albums I think I've ever listened to, and I'm not exaggerating with that. Every time I listen to this album, it surprises me just how much diversity there is on this album. Okay, maybe I shouldn't go into this album fully. Maybe I should just do a review of that album at some point. That would be quite a fun one to do. But yeah, they have a very short discography so far. I just realized whilst working on this video that Darko have released a new EP called Death Mask 3. So there you go.
Try again.
I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed that they managed to make deathcore that really, really, really appeals to me. Like I said, the synthy elements and all the weird and wonderful experimental stuff that they do is what, in my mind, deathcore should sound like, rather than it all sounding basically the same.
The joke, the fucking nothing stop. Wanna walk the fuck you walk, wanna talk the fucking talk. Yeah, we welcome the feeling. Let the stage of playing. It just won't be from me.
And yeah, so not only is this music technically fucking bonkers, but both the guys in Darko are insanely talented. It's like they've got this compressed talent that just explodes like a grenade. Like the drumming is ridiculous. The full use of a whatever 10-string, 9-string, whatever guitar is very impressive. The vocals are crazy and incredibly diverse. Like he can do some of the most guttural deathcore growls I've ever heard, yet he can shriek as well and actually sing. Like they have some mellow-ish songs, relatively speaking. Kind of sound a bit like Deftones. I'm pretty sure Deftones and the new metal scene was also an influence on this, so probably another reason why I like it. Unlike most deathcore bands, they show a hell of a lot of diversity in what they can and do. So in terms of lyrical themes, Darko's lyrical subjects have touched on existentialism, herd behavior, something I can get behind, dealing with loss, and social reform. Many of their songs contain themes and references drawn from various mediums of fantasy and science fiction. They have also mentions to video games such as Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Dark Souls, and The Last of Us. There's a lot of nerdy references in this. Something, going on about the lyrical theme, something that is interesting to me in Darko is I can actually tell what he's saying in most of the lyrics. Not all of them, certainly not all of them, but in a lot of them I'm like, oh yeah, I'm receiving a message from your mouth. Unlike most deathcore, where it's just like, I don't have a clue what you're saying. It doesn't really matter, because I'm not that much of a lyric guy. But it would be nice if I could understand what the hell you were saying. And with Darko, I can. Yeah, so this was just going to be a quick video. I just had to get this off my chest. Go and listen to Darko. You have to. just even if you don't like it, just for the sheer experience of going, okay, this is where heavy music is now. Okay. Because it kind of, in my mind, when I discovered Slipknot's first album, at the time, 99 or 2000 or whatever, that was as heavy as music could ever get. Right? And I think in my mind, Darko is what that album sounded like to me at the time. So yeah, just a quick video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and blah 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 blah. And also let me know how you feel. If you from this video, if you then find Darko's music enjoyable, let me know. I'd be really keen to hear that I've passed on their music to some poor soul. But yeah, start typing. Type now before the video goes on to something else. Quick, do it. Thank you for watching. Haven't thought of how to end videos yet, so I'm just going to say, go away.